Okay, let's take a deep dive into, well, a really fascinating snapshot of just one single day, May 29, 2025.
Right.
Our source material for this exploration, it comes from excerpts of a USA Today report. So it gives us a window, into what was making headlines.
Across different areas on that specific day.
Exactly. And our mission here is really to act as your guides. We want to pull out the most important nuggets, the key developments in politics, international relations, legal stuff, and even sports.
As they were presented in this material, yeah.
It's all about understanding the significant moments, the themes highlighted just on this one particular day.
From big policy decisions and how other countries reacted.
To legal checks on power and, yeah, even those notable moments in sports.
What's so interesting, I think, about focusing on just one day's news like this is you see the sheer breadth of activity. You get this kind of cross-section, and it shows these, contrasting forces at play. You've got policy actions happening right alongside legal challenges.
Or, yeah, serious international concerns next to moments of national sporting triumph.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Really helps you see just the multifaceted nature of what's going on in any given moment. So let's jump right into the political developments reported here.
Okay.
A significant announcement highlighted in the source was President Trump's decision. He decided to implement an indefinite ban on refugee admissions.
Indefinite. And the report, it clarifies this wasn't just the ban itself.
No,
it also involved halting related funding. So money tied to it stopped too.
Okay, halting the funding as well. And the rationale cited for this move, according to the source anyway, was national security concerns.
Right, national security. And this action, as reported, it wasn't exactly met with silence.
No, I imagine not.
The article notes it immediately sparked significant debate. You had policymakers, humanitarian organizations all weighing in. Shows how contentious it was.
Okay, so a lot of reaction there. And alongside that big policy announcement, the political sphere on this day also saw, a pretty notable departure.
Ah, yes, Elon Musk.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk announced he was leaving the Trump administration.
And he had quite a specific role mentioned, didn't he?
He did. Served as a special government employee. His focus, cost-cutting measures within the administration.
Right, trying to trim the fat, so to speak.
And his public statement on leaving, as reported, was basically that his tenure had concluded. He expressed gratitude, for the opportunity to work on reducing what he called wasteful spending.
So if you look at those two key political points from the source, just from this one day, you've got the indefinite refugee ban framed by national security concerns, and then you have Elon Musk leaving his cost-cutting role. The clear insight there, it seems, is this strong focus on perceived national security threats driving policy, but it's existing alongside, ongoing efforts or maybe shifts related to making government more efficient.
So those were really significant threads shaping the political narrative reported that day.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a sense of the priorities.
It gives you a very specific sense of the administration's reported priorities and, the key figures involved that moment. Okay, so shifting our focus now, the source also dug into international relations and trade.
Right, the trade stuff.
The report noted President Trump was facing criticism over new tariffs. These were imposed on steel and aluminum imports.
And the source offered, an interesting perspective there. It mentioned some Wall Street analysts were suggesting these actions might actually signal a retreat.
A retreat from what?
From even more aggressive trade policies. So maybe not as tough as they could have been, or maybe pulling back slightly. That nuance is kind of interesting.
It is, yeah. It's worth noting. And these specific U.S. trade actions, according to the source, they definitely prompted reactions from other countries.
As you'd expect.
Japan, in particular, expressed concerns.
Now, what's fascinating here, I thought, was that Japan's concern wasn't only about the direct trade impact, like the tariffs themselves.
I know.
The source highlights their worry over the potential impact of U.S. policies on foreign students.
Foreign students? How does that connect?
Well, the report ties this concern into a specific context. These ongoing discussions around international enrollment, places like Harvard University were mentioned.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about goods crossing borders.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the key takeaway from this international relations bit is that while trade policy, like tariffs, is central, its reported ripple effects, they can spread into areas that seem kind of unrelated at first glance, like international education, academic exchange. It shows how these economic decisions can have these really far-reaching diplomatic and, cultural implications, enough to prompt concern even from close allies, but on maybe unexpected fronts.
That really does highlight how interconnected global issues are.
Wow. Okay, now let's look at some significant developments reported in public safety and legal challenges.
Right, the legal stuff.
There was a major legal ruling highlighted. A federal trade court actually blocked a key action by the president.
Yes, this court blocked President Trump's attempt to impose those tariffs, the steel and aluminum ones we just talked about specifically, when he tried to use emergency powers to do it.
Emergency powers.
Yeah.
And the court's reason for blocking it. Pretty direct, wasn't it?
Very. They ruled that the president had, in this particular instance, exceeded his authority. Plain and simple.
Wow. Exceeded authority.
And this decision, as it's presented in the source, is explicitly described as marking a notable check on executive power, specifically in trade matters. That's a pretty significant legal development for one day.
Absolutely. A check on executive power. Now, while this legal challenge was unfolding, the report also noted there were continuing discussions around something else with, well, pretty significant implications.
What was that? The U.S. government was considering acquiring a golden share in U.S. Steel.
Ah, the golden share idea. Right. And this comes up amidst that potential buyout of U.S. Steel by Nippon Steel, the Japanese company.
Exactly. And the underlying concern highlighted by the source in this whole discussion is really about foreign investment in critical industries.
Makes sense, protecting key assets.
So, if we put these points together, the key insight here seems to be sort of a twofold focus. It's about navigating these complex challenges related to, well, economic security and governance.
How so?
Well, you've got the court ruling, which shows the judicial branch stepping in, defining the boundaries of executive authority, specifically on trade.
Right, that's one side.
And then simultaneously, you have this golden share discussion, which points to the government wrestling with how to protect strategically important domestic industries when faced with foreign acquisition.
So different but related angles on national economic interest and legal control.
Exactly. Both show different mechanisms of the U.S. system grappling with pretty significant challenges, all reported on this single day. What stands out to you about how these legal and economic safety issues were reported together like this?
It's fascinating, isn't it? How these distinct issues, the court case and the potential buyout, both touch on different facets of governmental power and control. Control over national assets, control over policy direction.
It truly is. Okay, now, while all of this was happening, the policy, the legal stuff, international trade, the day's news, also captured moments of, well, national triumph and entertainment.
Ah, shifting gears completely.
Totally shifting gears. The source includes a sports update, and it was a big one. A historic victory for Team USA in international ice hockey.
Oh, wow, okay. Led by Frank Nazar, according to the report.
Yes, Frank Nazar. And the scale of the achievement is just immense. They ended a 92-year gold medal drought. 92 years.
92? That is an incredible span of time, just imagine.
No.
The report noted that Nazar's performance specifically really captured national attention. It was being hailed as, a defining moment for the sport in the U.S.
Definitely something people will be talking about. The source also briefly touched on other sports news happening.
Like what?
The U.S. Women's Open Golf Tournament was kicking off at Erin Hills in Wisconsin. It detailed the field, 156 players, and a pretty significant purse, $12 million.
Big money in golf. And anything else?
Yeah. There was also an update on the NBA playoffs. The New York Knicks were facing a critical Game 5.
Ah, the Knicks. Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers?
That's the one. The report mentioned the Knicks were trailing 3-1 in the series.
Oof. Backs against the wall.
Totally. Needed a win at Madison Square Garden just to keep their season alive.
High stakes there, too.
So, looking at this whole mix of sports news, the insight this source gives us here is how sports delivers this distinctly different kind of national narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Unlike the complex policy debates or the legal challenges, this hockey victory offered, well, a clear story, perseverance, historical achievement.
Something everyone can kind of rally around.
Exactly. It captures national attention in a way that complements, yet really contrasts with the more, serious headlines.
It's a good reminder, isn't it, that even on a day filled with significant political and economic news, there are these other shared experiences, these events capturing the public imagination.
Yeah. What does this combination of, serious news and these sports milestones tell you about the overall landscape of news on this particular day?
Well, it paints a picture of a nation engaged on multiple levels, right? From
Mhm.
high-stakes governance and international positioning,
Mhm.
all the way to moments of collective sporting pride and, major entertainment events like the playoffs or a big golf tournament. It's all happening.
So this deep dive has been, well, a look into the key reports from just that single day, May 29, 2025, as presented in those USA Today excerpts.
Yeah, we've explored the core nuggets across politics, international relations, legal challenges, and sports.
Right, aiming to give you, the listener, a clearer picture of a dynamic landscape reported just on that one day.
It's really about seeing how diverse events coexist, how they contribute to the overall flow of information and, the national conversation.
Exactly. And so maybe a final thought to leave you with. Considering this combination of events reported on this specific day,
Yeah.
you've got a court pushing back on executive power, you have international reactions to policy shifts, there's ongoing debate about national economic security, foreign investment, and then boom, a 92-year drought ending in sports.
It's quite a mix.
It is. So what does this snapshot suggest about the dynamic forces shaping the nation at this particular moment in time? Think about that interplay. Governing authority being challenged, global relationships being tested by domestic policy.
National assets being debated in the context of foreign investment.
And these moments of collective identity being forged through huge achievements completely outside of the political sphere. It's a lot to consider.